Friends of our channel and YouTubers, welcome. Answers of an Alien from Andromeda, Video 87, August 21, 2012. Mythy, many people insist on knowing about the forecast for the arrival of Nibiru, when will be seen, and the consequences provided for the date. Is this a Nibiru system photo? Friends, I've said I'll warn you in advance. And no, this is not a picture of Nibiru, may have been set up to look like something different, but this is not the Nibiru system. Look, when the system Nibiru was isolated from its original orbit, many large asteroids traveling on the gravity of the system were left behind with the speed much diminished, but in the original route. Some may come against the planet, but in the case of a real threat of extinction will be removed by Pleiadians. Your elites know of a large asteroid that walks en route of possible collision, and is preparing a theater in case of Pleiadians deviate it from the route. You will only be notified of this approach in the nick of time, so that the theater mounted for the occasion can effectively operate. When I get more details I will inform you. Be prepared for the next 40 or 60 days, all communication as you use in everyday life may be summarily cut. This is a plan to isolate regions and bring chaos programmed by your elites, because the people alone offer little resistance. Telephones and internet will stop working globally. Your elites hope that this event happened at the end of last year with the passage of the comet Ellen in coma, but as it was destroyed by Krulans, they had to redesign the whole agenda, and prepare new plans for implementation this year. All this information is underlined in a report delivered by Pleiadians to the board of the Community Galactica. They should know better than us what is about to happen. This initiative will be taken after the introduction of martial law generally, caused by counterfeit attacks, designed to guide the operation of deploying a centralized system of government and economy overall, with the use of force dictatorial. For communications between members of regional communities and rural residents, the citizen band radio is the only way of communication. Try to talk to truckers. They know the best brands and antenna options. The frequency maritime VHF radios are also a good option for good reach, and frequencies hardly be traced within the country. For communication over long distances, only shortwave radios will be effective. These radios are used by radio amateurs for over 90 years. These will be the only equipment that can keep you in touch with each other between your countries. Mythy, the man actually stepped on the moon? In other interviews you confirmed that. What about the Van Allen belt of high radiation that kills virtually any living being to go through it? The man went to the moon, not every time it was announced, and even people who said they were really gone. Those who were announced as participants in the missions never really had been there. Volunteers, who were trained for this, knew the risks and accepted these suicide missions, for the good of their families. They were for free and spontaneous will, for the good of science. They all died a few months or years after the missions by the effect of radiation received in back and forth from their missions. The costumes they used to walk on the moon, neither were those that showed. There was a large heating unit that had to be taken as a shopping cart, pushed by the astronaut, all the time. They hung up the main heating system to pose for photographs, for about 10 minutes at most. Both Russians and Americans had been there for some occasions. Special costumes used during the passage through the fields of the Van Allen belt helped quite at the level of survival, and all instruments on board were summarily turned off during these passages in back and forth, to avoid being destroyed by radiation. Even instruments panels, insulated with sheets of lead, if they are operating during passage, will burn out. All probes sent by you to explore the solar system and the moon's surface, passes through the belt of energy totally disconnected, to avoid being overwhelmed and disabled permanently. They are activated only when they are already at a safe distance. You remember the attempt of your scientists to stop or neutralize the Van Allen belt. With a large atomic explosion, it only got worse, as it absorbed the energy and became more active than it was. It is impossible to destroy a field, such as the characteristics of your magnetic field will keep it active, until your planet's core is changed accordingly. These energy fields do not affect our ships, because our force field completely isolates the ship of any influence from the external environment. Do you remember when I said you were transferred to Earth to recycle only here until the necessary development? These force fields only form in planets with the function to isolate the planet, avoiding anything out of it, without being on time to happen. Nothing happens by chance, my friends, everything is always planned. No uninhabited planet has energy fields of this type, because there is nothing that can come out of it that can contaminate or threaten the balance planned. It's like a fence to keep the babies leave the predetermined location and get hurt. This Van Allen belt will dissipate when the planet is at the right point, that is, when only the beings of level 1 are living here. At year's end, the planet will go to level 1, but only when all the zero level has been transferred naturally. The belt of energy will dissipate completely. This is not a prison planet, it's simply a reformatory, where everyone can reach the goal of developing and conscientization necessary for harmonic socializing with other communities. Friends, in this turbulent period of social and environment changes, seeking to find the creator that is within each of you, no book or doctrine represents more your soul than what you feel inside of your conscience. A good soul can be Jewish, Buddhist, Christian, Shinto, Muslim, Hindu, or any other, as much as a bad soul. Religion, nominally speaking, says absolutely not about who is good and who is not. Remember that when you move to a new stage of development, the collective consciousness will have no value but rather individual consciences. Do not look at others with indifference, dictated by any doctrine. Think that his children could be yours, and he could be your brother. Do not think of differences in dialects or languages, think that a raised hand, in peace sign, is the sign understood by all those who want peace, and that a child cries the same way in any language. Do not let anyone tell you who you are, know thyself, and you will be your own conscience. Thanks for watching, join our channel. You are welcome there.